Media training. So quickly before this video begins, a lot of people have also talked about Chappell Roan and her lack of media training, her speaking her mind and not being afraid of how she is being perceived in the media. I did want to touch on this quickly because a recent video of her at the MTV Awards shouting at the paparazzi went kind of viral.
I gotta shut the f*** up, Jim. This is the spot. Shut the Chappell!
People have now been deeming her as having no media training. I didn't necessarily include Chappell Roan in this video. For me, Chappell Roan is like a character that gives the ability to become someone else. Very similar to how Lady Gaga is. They're both characters that let the artist be more confident. And two, the movement that Chappell Roan has been making for artists to be seen more as people, I feel like it's quite important.
I do think people really listened. People have been so respectful. Like, no one has harassed me. I feel very heard and like it feels good. It's hard for artists to speak up. It's easier for me to stand up for myself. So like, of course I had to say it. I was just like, I'm not taking this for the rest of my career. I've been famous for like 1 month. This is not how it's gonna go, girl.
And I do understand that many people will say that she doesn't have very good media training, but honestly I can't help but feel that that is all part of the appeal of Chappell Roan. Hopefully that will make sense, but I did just want to add this in. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, back to the video. From a time where celebrities and public figures had to get a lot of media training to be able to maintain and carry a certain image, we have seen over the last few years how many celebrities and influencers have been labelled as having bad media training. From celebrities like Renee Rapp, Rachel Zegler, Blake Lively, Liam Payne.
I was the honorary member of One Direction.
Now obviously one of the main reasons I wanted to talk about this was because of the whole Blake Lively situation. Now if you're like me, you're probably fed up with hearing about the whole Blake Lively situation because it's probably been talked about so much, but I do want to touch on it in this video for people who don't know and just to give it an overall quick recap. So if you don't want to hear about the whole situation again, just skip forward to the time frame on the screen and I will see you there. Lately, Blake Lively has come under a lot of scrutiny due to the recent interviews and press about her recent film, It Ends With Us. A film that's based on a Colleen Hoover book that is basically about DV. But in these interviews and the press about the film, it's almost not even talking or sharing light on that main subject.
DV is going to affect people and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share.
Leaving people feeling rather annoyed and neglected to the fact that the film entails such a important and serious topic, with her in interviews just basically labeling the film as a fun day out with your friends, making it like, yeah, it's just a fun film. It's a fun summer film, you know, go grab your girlies. But the hate for Blake Lively individually started to get a lot worse due to an old interview that was posted by a celebrity interviewer that claimed that this was the interview that made her want to quit her job. In which the interview was Blake Lively and co-star Parkley Posey, who were interviewed for their film Cafe Society in 2016. The celebrity reporter who almost wanted to quit her job because of the interview said this about her experience. The most uncomfortable interview situation I've ever experienced. Is it not okay to congratulate someone on their pregnancy or to ask another woman about the costumes she was wearing in the film? Now, I'm sure most of you have seen this interview by now, but it ultimately starts with the interviewer congratulating Blake on her baby.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
She announced that she was pregnant a few days or weeks prior to the interview and asked her about the outfit she was wearing during the film.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you...
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
Seemingly very reasonable questions to ask. The way that Blake and Parker Posey treated or acted towards these questions was somewhat uncalled for, leaving the interviewer feeling rather isolated as they carried on having their own conversation. And since the interview has come out, there has been a lot more speculation and concern questioning her character. So with that all said and done, could good media training saved Blake Lively's career and the way she was perceived in these interviews.
And then I got ripped off the stage, thrown into media training, which was hilarious.
Nowadays, celebrities, a lot of them have their own social media pages and are able to share the videos that they want to share. But back before social media, interviews were mainly the only way you could represent yourself towards your fans and towards people who didn't necessarily know you. They give the audience a connection that they can have through these interviews, serving as a fly on the wall during a conversation, fueling a parasocial relationship where fans feel like they know the celebrities through and through. A lot of people have questioned a celebrity's character because of an interview. So there have been many interviews that have resurfaced that have been a bit questionable of celebrities' characters, but it doesn't necessarily surprise me when recently some interviews have not been received in the best way. So let's talk a little about media training. The topic of media training caught my attention after watching this video, which I'll leave in the description. I highly recommend this channel, by the way, very good channel. The video really touched on the importance of good media training and how many artists and celebrities seem to not be able to handle press and interviews like they used to. First things first, what is media training? Essentially, media training is about helping spokespeople and other interviewers to demonstrate three essential qualities in any communication: knowledge, experience, human warmth, and authenticity. Good media training will give interviewees the tools and techniques to demonstrate these qualities. You're in charge of the information you give out, and the reporter is in charge of how they use it. It basically helps with the reputation and image of the individual and to help them be able to smoothly dodge questions. Now, whilst I think media training is very important, we have seen how beneficial it is being authentic. The more and more time goes on, influencers and celebrities and people of public image are being encouraged to be more authentic, to share what they want to say and to be able to do that. And especially with a lot of influencers nowadays not having the opportunity to get media training, the whole reason that they are successful is normally because of their authenticity and how it's just them behind the camera. So I guess where media training becomes important is to be able to control the narrative, understand how something may end up being perceived. But obviously a lot of celebrities and individuals don't do this without a team.
I should have handled that situation with maturity and empathy. Instead, I just let my ego take over.
With a good PR team, they help manage the reputation of the celebrity or individual, organising collabs and deals, ensuring that the celebrity aligns with the brand's values, handling celebrities' scandals, addressing negative incidents promptly, minimising risks. PR teams must monitor social media, engaging with fans, and manage online content to maintain a positive public image. PR teams must ensure that the info given to the public is truthful, it must align with the individual's values and respects the audience trust. Upholding ethical standards in image management is crucial for long-term reputation and credibility. Controlling public appearances. So they are in control and oversee a lot of what the celebrity and individual does. Like I said earlier, before social media, it was a lot easier for PR teams to manage a image for their individual. And yes, you had news outlets and the occasional interview, but the misinformation and the spread of controversy could be controlled a lot easier. The interviews and the outlets weren't getting spread by algorithms that pushed it to people, and the more popular it got, the more bigger it grew. Compared to now, where artists, actors will go on podcasts, interviews, videos, resurfaced tweets will come out. So it's a lot harder for these PR groups and PR teams to be able to manage their images. A celebrity and a team should be joint and they should kind of work on the same page. There shouldn't be much discrepancy. If a celebrity wants to talk about a certain subject, they should have the support of the PR team so they can manage it in a way that is going to be controlled and is going to be pushed how they want it to be pushed. And this is a really interesting point because I went on to Reddit a few weeks ago when I was researching this video. I typed in celebrities that have had good PR, and one of the celebrities that came up, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Now obviously that may not be the case anymore, but for a long time Blake Lively has had a very, very good reputation. When all this stuff was coming out, I found it very hard to believe because I generally really liked Blake Lively and I thought she was really funny and I couldn't really quite believe it. Nowadays I generally don't know who to like anymore because I feel like every celebrity or every person I like, they are gonna get cancelled eventually, so I never know anymore. But anyway,
they would take us to media training, or they would call it, Disney 101.
So obviously I can't talk about media training without talking about Disney. Disney is probably one of the most well known for how much it puts its celebrities through to be able to maintain their image. Joe Jonas said that he and his brothers Nick and Kevin Jonas were expected to be perfect while working for Disney. They also had to go through media training, which he hated. He remembered being taught how to change the subject whenever you are asked an uncomfortable question. He continued saying, playing dumb is the best way to get out of anything. We also had a strategy for who would take which kinds of questions. If it was a serious question, Nick would answer it. If it was lighthearted, Kevin would. Nick and I took questions related to our music and explaining what certain songs meant. In 2008, Miley was notably photographed for the cover of Vanity Fair, wearing only a sheet. The photo caused unnecessary controversy because it went against her Hannah Montana persona. In order to regain her good girl image, Disney issued a statement calling out the cover for manipulating Miley, and they had made Miley issue one too, where she apologised for her fans as she said she was embarrassed. There was also a time when, whilst working for Disney, Vanessa Hudgens, some nude photos of her got leaked and she had to be held up in Disney offices because they were trying to figure out how to keep her on lockdown from basically saying anything or seeing anyone. So it's definitely been known for a lot of Disney kids how much control they've been under while working with Disney, from not just controlling what they say but also to controlling how they go about their life and what they do. But over the last few years, Disney have really mellowed down on their media training, which is generally quite a good thing. Brings us on to Rachel Zegler.
My name's Snow White and I'm here to say
Disney's Snow White live action remake featuring Rachel Zegler as Snow White and Gal Gadot playing the evil queen has come under a lot of scrutiny. The film originally had a release date of March 22nd, 2024. During the filming, pictures were released by the press and kicked off a lot of controversy due to the casting of the film. In September of 2022, Rachel Zegler explained to the press she believed that the live action movie brought Snow White out of the conventions of the past to become a woman that could be a leader and didn't need a prince to save her. Many mark this as the point where she started to become an unlikable character, and interviews following not showing off her personality in the best light. People started claiming the lack of respect she had towards the source material and the lack of respect she had for being able to play such a high role in a film. I want to share my personal thoughts on this, and I don't want it to piss anyone off, but I generally didn't really understand the amount of hate she got. But I do think that it was a majority of people hating on her because Disney's antics. I don't think people really wanted a remake. For Disney doing so many remakes recently, to hear another one really just pissed people off. And for her to come out and say things about the original story really did tick people off. She was marketing it as another strong female character.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937.
She's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Like, you don't need to market your film based off of a strong female character. You know, especially with companies being like, look, it's a woman and she's like gonna kick some ass. This is crazy. Watch our film. That should not be the main reason that people see your film. Your film should have a good plot and should have also strong women in it. If it has a good plot and you're saying those things, then yes. So her saying these things just added fuel to the fire, and a lot of people put it down to her not having good media training and needed more training when it comes to be able to represent herself in the media. Sometimes I think it can just be their personality. When people say like so-and-so should have got media training, the fact is they probably do have media training to a certain degree, but whether their personality just trumps it and they say questionable things or controversial things. Jennifer Lawrence used to get a lot of hate due to just the way she was, and people were like, whoa, she has like no media training. I think it depends on the character. I think it depends on the person. If you are generally a nice person and just a bit goofy and just say things that you want to say, but if you do some sketchy things and don't have an amazing personality, then it's going to be seen right through, and if you don't have media training, that could make it a lot worse for you. So would good PR and media training actually help these individuals? Personally, I think media training is very important. I think it's very important for most people who are in the celebrity and public figure limelight to get media training. Not to the extent that Disney used to, but just to be able to understand how they want to be represented. But I don't think it's going to change someone's personality. If Blake Lively wants to be mean to an interviewer, then media training probably wouldn't have helped her. Because if that's the way her personality is, then that's just the way she's going to end up being. It's a really hard one to kind of understand and to say yes it would help or no it wouldn't, because I think there is a fine line between you should say what you want to say and you should be able to do those things. If you get in a scandal, you want to know how to be able to deal with that in the right way, not get out a freaking ukulele and play a song. If you have any thoughts, any ideas on this subject, leave them in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. And I love you guys.